So we all have that obligatory picture of us when we were really little, holding a small American flag, posed with a judge or some sort of official when your citizenship was made official or confirmed or whatever. I want to remind, I guess, adoptive parents that even though your adopted child is now a citizen of your country, the rest of the world doesn't necessarily see them that way. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. November is National Adoption Awareness Month. In the United States, it's also a significant election year, and we vote in November. As we wait for all of the votes to be counted, I thought I'd share some transracial adoptee specific complexities that I've encountered surrounding citizenship. At a young age, I can recall being really uncomfortable around the topic of citizenship. Now, as an adult, it's a question I'm asked on a fairly regular basis. So in my company, I will meet with prospective clients and individuals from the general public. And these are people who don't necessarily know that I'm an adoptee. They don't know anything about me. So they just know how I look and how our interaction is going. And I am often asked, what nationality am I? Or where am I from? Like a question like that, like, what are you? I mean, it's super annoying and it happens really pretty regularly. I might answer, oh, I'm American, or I grew up in this town, or I grew up here, or whatever. I might make them squirm a little bit. I get that people are curious and are probably just trying to connect or trying to make conversation in a way. And I get that, but a good rule of thumb, before you ask a minority a question like that, probably think to yourself, like, would I ask the same question to a white person? And if the answer is no, then you might want to refrain. So if you're a transracial adoptee and have had interactions where your citizenship is kind of called into question or questioned in some way, know that you're not alone. I'm not speaking obviously for all adoptees. I am always only speaking for myself. You always have to put a disclaimer out there, but I often joke with my husband, like, I feel the most American when I am not in America. And it's kind of funny, and it's like we joke about it, but it's so true. So we've done a fair amount of travel since we've been together. So the Middle East, and we went to East Asia and parts of Europe and stuff. And I honestly feel the most American, and my American citizenship is least in question when I'm abroad. So let that sink in. So even in Korea, even though that was nice to kind of blend in physically, where everyone was Korean, people knew right away that I wasn't culturally Korean. It's obvious to foreigners that I'm American. It's even more obvious than to my fellow Americans. So if I go into a public place here, there are some people who might assume that I don't speak English, or that they can't relate to me in any way because of how I look. And I'm not one to dwell on any of this. So this is all I make these videos to raise awareness about the adoptee experience, I guess. And so I'm not just sitting here woe is me that this is a big problem in my life, because it's not. But I thought, with the election going on and it's National Adoption Awareness Month, I thought that I would talk throughout the month, I guess, about certain little topics that have complexities for a transracial adoptee. In America, for me, the citizenship has been one of those complexities. So for someone whose citizenship, or I guess sense of belonging in their country, has never been questioned, has never been a topic that's come up, and for those people, I guess I want to make them more aware, specifically if you are in the adoption world in any way. So if you're an adoptive parent, you have a niece or a nephew that's adopted or whatever, or a grandchild, these are things that, they're just little things. They're everyday little interactions that come up, and it's not a big deal. And like I said, I'm not dwelling on it, but it's stuff that people wouldn't really be aware of. So even my husband, who's white, we do talk about these differences in perspective, because now with children, and our children are mixed, this is a whole different ballgame for him. He had a completely different childhood than I did, even though we grew up in the next town over from each other, and we went to the same schools. It was a different experience, and our children are going to have slightly different experiences because they are mixed, and we live in a predominantly white area. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I think that it's just different, and that's why these videos and this kind of having these conversations with him about this stuff is really eye-opening. He has never, he's never been asked, what nationality are you? And he's never had to field those type of questions. I think it's really good for he and I to have these conversations, because our children are going to likely have some interactions like this as well. Oh, on a side note, so So, for instance, talk about Americanness being, or, you know, just looking a certain way. So being Asian American, like I identify as American, and I kind of have to identify as Korean American, because to my fellow Americans, I'm not just American. I am Asian American. Right? One of the candidates in this past election, who obviously had, you know, who had dropped out earlier, but was Andrew Yang. And he is a Chinese American male. I think he's like in his 40s probably. I did follow his campaign a little bit, and because I'm always kind of curious, like whenever there's an Asian person in like the media who's in like a spotlight role, you know, it definitely piques my interest a little bit, because I want to see how they're going to perform, and I want to, I guess, just see how they represent Asian people in general, I guess, because you're always going to be compared, right, a little bit. And Andrew Yang was a very interesting candidate. I think would have been a really interesting leader if he were to ever somehow get elected. Unfortunately for him and for other Asian prospective candidates, I feel like that is a very, very uphill battle. And I think that the general perception of an Asian person out and about is more foreign than some other minorities. And this is just my opinion on it. And that's like me being like the lived experience of being an Asian person in this country. So I actually really liked Andrew Yang as a candidate. He actually got quite a bit of momentum going, which was kind of shocking. Despite all of his media blackouts and stuff, like he just wasn't getting fair coverage, and it was really obvious. And it's not just my opinion that he wasn't getting it. Like literally, like he would be like higher in the rankings, but they would skip over him and include people who were lower than him. And then here's another one. Like there was one media coverage where it was somebody else. It was like another Yang person, like same last name Yang, but it was a completely different Asian man. So it's like that goes to the whole stereotype, all Asian people look the same. And obviously mainstream media and these media whatever networks think that as well. So yeah, he was a very interesting candidate. And the reason I bring this up is I think it goes along the lines of like my experience that, yeah, my citizenship is often questioned, and people are often amazed at how well I speak English, and yay for me. So I think for somebody like Andrew Yang to run a presidential campaign and get some momentum and get some steam and get some excitement around him was really quite a feat. Even though obviously he dropped out quite early, he actually is a CNN commentator now. So that was like a genius move for him. But yeah, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting that an Asian American ran in the first place. I don't know. I think he did a really good job representing Asian Americans, and he's obviously really intelligent and a really good speaker. Like his campaign was completely different. You know, a universal basic income, and it wasn't just an idea that was unsupported. It had facts and numbers and like stats behind it. It wasn't just like his made-up idea. So anyway, that was like a side note. I definitely don't want to talk politics on this channel any more than what I've done here. And basically what I'm saying by discussing Yang's campaign was that is an uphill battle, because when you are Asian, you look foreign. It doesn't matter how American you are, it doesn't matter. You're still gonna look more foreign to people than maybe other minority groups, and definitely more foreign than other white people. I mean, it's just the reality of it. And that's why I bring it up, because this was kind of a discussion about citizenship, and the election is looming over us right now. Hopefully, by the time you watch this video, hopefully we will have an outcome one way or the other at this point, but I do want all votes to be counted. So yes, they should take as much time as they need. If you made it this far in my super rambly video, then thank you for watching, for sure. And throughout the month of November, I'm thinking I'll just kind of do a couple of different adoption themed topics that maybe people should be more aware of, like adoptive parents and relatives and whatever of adoptees. And if you're a fellow adoptee, then maybe you can relate to some of this and feel less alone, because I'm sure not everybody can relate to this, but I'm sure somebody can. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you like this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing if you want more of this type of stuff, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Bye.